Hi, everybody, and welcome again to Checkmate the Matrix. On this event, I've actually got a friend of Janine's, really, that started talking, or Janine started following her and listening and having sort of like conversations and joining courses, I think maybe somewhere in the region about 4 years ago. So I'm very happy to have today with me Jenny and Brian. At the moment, from the United States, but not originally for Jenny anyway. How are you doing?
Good, Peter. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Very excited to sort of like cover a lot of different aspects here for the Checkmate the Matrix part of it, because that's really what the channel is about. Partly about how to protect ourselves privacy wise and everything like that, but also how to actually rise above the actual matrix and be able to use their systems to be able to develop what we call a sovereign enterprise, which I think is what I mean, I don't know how you would describe it, but that's how I would describe what you've actually created, really, from nothing, from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would call it soul empire. I always call it a soul empire, but I love sovereign enterprise because the sovereignty of it is exactly what you're saying. It's like you have unplugged from the matrix to create that outside of the resources of that. You're not relying on the matrix anymore for your abundance, and that's perfect. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's exactly it. You say you're not relying on the matrix for your abundance, because the trap of the matrix is pure control. And the more that you rely on them, we'll call it them, for whatever it is, be it a job, right? Which we call it a job, being just over broke, or, you're on some kind of like payment from them, like a benefit or something like that, but you're tied into their system, and you are trapped. That you have to basically do everything that they want you to do. It might not even feel like that when you think about it, but they've actually taken half of the money away from you. Once you get your wages, your salary, whatever, at the end of the month, they've already took their share before you've even seen it. And what do you get back for it? Absolutely nothing. You're actually the only entities, us, man and woman, that have to pay to be alive on this planet. So it's look at it that way. So let's go back to the beginning. I was just mentioning, like Janine obviously started following you like just when you had literally first started. So if you can just give us a little bit of background of how you started and what you were actually trying to achieve, and take it from there, really.
Yeah, with my sovereign entity, or with my sovereign enterprise. I love that. I'm going to remember that. So I was really nudged to create a YouTube channel. That's where I wanted to start everything. And my whole thing is to connect with what I call star seeds. Okay. So I created a business called Starseed Academy. I mean, it wasn't a business when I started, it was literally just a YouTube channel. And this was for people that really felt like they were going through a spiritual awakening, which is really, what is a spiritual awakening? A lot of people talk about that. It's really just coming into more awareness. It's coming into awareness of self. It's coming into awareness of how things are being run. It's coming into a lot of awareness about like the control and the programs and the things that we've talked about. And it's painful at the beginning. You kind of feel like no one understands, no one speaks your language, like everyone's just so plugged in, and you feel kind of crazy, right? And so, and specifically the people that I was wanting to speak to, the star seeds, are the souls that really feel like they have had lifetimes off world. We all, and that might sound crazy, but there are millions of people that resonate with this. So there's something to it where we all, I think most people believe in past lives, right? Reincarnation. Well, it's just the idea that your soul has had lifetimes that is not on Earth, that is in another place within our galaxy, and that you have maybe even memories of that or dreams of that, or just a feeling when you look up at the sky, at the stars, that there's somewhere else that you belong. And it's also a feeling of like not fitting in, like feeling like you look around at humanity and you're like, what are they even doing? Like, WTF is going on with this, the way that they treat each other, and the way that things are run, and there's so much injustice, and the soul or the heart of a starseed just gets so fired up by injustice, and they really just care so much about like equality for everybody and just bringing that through. So I decided to start a YouTube channel. That was the very first thing I did. I started talking about stuff like this. I started talking about things using terms like starseed before it was trendy, like before it was like, you know, kind of getting mainstream the way that it is now. And there was so much pushback, you know, people calling me crazy, mental, like all the things. And I know that, I'm sure you've experienced that too. There's going to be so many people that just can't understand anything but the main programming. They can't understand anything but the collective timeline. That's all that they know. And anything outside of that, they've been taught to fear or reduced to, you know, people being crazy, right? Like just like to reduce it to, you know, almost like making fun of that in a way. And so, yeah, there was a ton of pushback, but I, you know, went on, and I continued, and really found my footing and ended up building a community of people. And, you know, for like, just like a business tip, creating long form content like a YouTube channel or a podcast, something like it's a little bit longer than just like short little videos, is an amazing way to create a community like that. I didn't know that at the time. I just stumbled into creating this beautiful community. And from there, I started listening to what my community wanted. And they started asking me for a private space for them. And so that was when I created the Starseed Academy membership. And then everybody started asking me to, because I was talking a lot about, I don't know if you've ever covered this on your channel or not, but I was talking a lot about like psychic gifts and like connecting with the spirit realm and speaking to a higher power, and really like speaking to councils, you know, councils of light that were concerned about humanity and Earth and everything that was happening here, and that there was, you know, people that were watching over us and how to communicate with them. And I was really big on what I call the clairs, the language of the clairs. So using clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance to see, feel, hear, and know what another world is sending through to you, just like a medium does, right? But it's called psychic channeling or divine channeling. And so I was doing that and hitting on the most accurate things. Like I remember doing a video about what happened to our moon. Like what's a real truth about the moon? Like that, I know that that is, a lot of people feel in their gut, like this, the moon is, and they've read things, and you can go down rabbit holes. There's something weird about the moon, right? And I remember just like not researching anything, just fully channeling through the information and hitting on the fact that we used to have twin moons here on Earth, and that then there was like that they had crashed, and then our moon was rebuilt and is now an artificial moon and is actually hollow, and like all of these things in this video that people started sending me like news clippings about, or like when they went down the rabbit hole, like you were dead on, this is true, this is true, this is true, and starting to really like understand that you can channel true and pure information if you follow a framework of making sure you're not channeling from ego and making sure that you're channeling from like a pure place, right? So anyway, I started offering these, people started asking me like, well, can you talk to my guides? Like you're talking to your own guides and you're getting all this incredible information. Like, can you do that for me? And I was like, oh, yes, I can. So I started taking clients and doing readings, and I was doing energy healings. And then people started asking me for, well, can you teach me how to do what you do? I want to learn how to channel. I want to learn how to, you know, access these gifts, access soul gifts, and access these higher realms and higher dimensions. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I can teach that. So it was like just listening to my community about what they wanted. They wanted readings. They wanted sessions with me. They wanted mentorship. Then they wanted to learn how to do what I did. And so I created Psychic Light, which is my signature program. We're about to go live October 30th for that again, for a new round. It's a certified program where you become a master channeler. And then they started asking me, well, hold on. Now that you've activated all these gifts in me, I want a spiritual business too. I want a sovereign enterprise. I want a soul empire. I want out of the matrix. Because I always talk about how I think one of the biggest matrix programs is the 9-to-5. I think it's a program. I think it's built to keep people in slavery. I think it's built to keep people from searching too deeply into their own selves, their own passions, their own gifts, into like anything, because you, at the end of the day, after a 9 to 5, you're so tired. All you can do is Netflix, and then you're only living for the weekends. And then most people drink their faces off and drink the weekends away, because that's the only reprise that they get from their lives, right? So it's like Matrix all week long, party on the weekends, and then we start all over again. And then people were seeing that I was living in a different way. I was talking about embracing sobriety. I was talking about getting out of, because that's another program, addiction, religion, 9 to 5. There's all these programs, and I was unplugging one by one by one. And then people were seeing that and saying, okay, that's what I want to. That's what my soul is craving to. So then I started helping all these people step into their sovereignty and build their own businesses. And I mean, here we are. So here we are, like 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, I created my YouTube channel. And now I'm a, multi-6-figure entrepreneur in the spiritual industry, doing something crazy that, that people would consider weird or wacky, in the Matrix, and absolutely supporting myself, my family. We just bought a beautiful new home this summer, like thriving. You can thrive.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how to actually, I've been studying sort of like, I don't know what you would call it, but sort of like definitely how to create a sovereign empire, really, from scratch, but using what you could call like your own expert secrets, what you have. And that could be anything. I mean, you've got what you have. So I know obviously Janine's spoken a lot with you and listened to you a lot and done various different courses, etc. So I know like what you're talking about when you're saying the clairs, and she's investigated and studied more on the Claire side, and so I get those little bits, and I listen to her, and we do a little bit of stuff together, and we do channeling together and stuff. So I'm practicing that, so I know by no means like I can say, oh yeah, I'll do that for you. Absolutely not. But I do have little bits, and things do come through, and I'm like, oh wow, try that again. So but I mean, what you're calling it there, the sovereign enterprise starts off with like your expert secrets, which is what I'm trying to tell other people to do. Look inside and find what it is that that you could share with others, because everybody's an expert at what they do. Nobody is you. So if you start to share you, and then that comes across, and it could be anything. It could even be, like it's some kind of like skill that's physical. Could be like knitting,
like music, art, like anything, right? So we're talking about the same things, and I love how we just have like a little bit of different terms. I call it soul gifts. Like you have a gift that you came here with. It's what you're passionate about, and that's what you're here to share. And if you use your gifts in service, the key here is service. When you start using your gifts in service, it activates things. Service is like a frequency of activation. And just by starting a YouTube channel and offering free value to people for free, that was a form of service. And it activated, and things will create momentum. Like service creates momentum, and then all of a sudden you've got more people and more people and more people, and they start asking you, if you start listening to your audience, what they want different things. You start to create offers. So yeah, you're right. It's like being authentically yourself and sharing your story is a great place to start. And then I always say like there's 4 steps to unplugging from like the 9 to 5 and accomplishing like your mission here, your soul purpose. And that is discover your gifts, master those gifts, use those gifts in service in some way, many ways, and then build your soul empire. So it's kind of like the same language that you would use with your sovereign enterprise and what did you call soul gifts? You were calling it, I loved what you were saying.
Secrets.
Yes, I love that. That's perfect. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I like what I mentioned there. So like, it doesn't have to be, like on a spiritual side. It could even be like the physical skill.
Yeah.
I did meet a group of ladies, right, in Nashville. I think it was back in 2019, and they set up an online business, and there was all. Well, all right, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not that great at it. It was either crochet or knitting. It was something like that, And I thought, oh, that's amazing. And they were getting a big audience. I mean, it's obviously a big business. And this was at a conference trying to teach others on how to, you know, develop these expert secrets, and I think that's where we got the term from. You know, like, well, you've got something inside, you're an expert at, you know, and you can share it. Don't keep it secret, you know, so share what you're actually doing and what you're trying to achieve. And when you're saying, you know, sharing your journey, right,
Mm-hmm.
that there is the way I would say that everyone has like the hero's journey, and you have to share your hero's journey of where you started, what you had to overcome,
Yep.
and how you overcame the sort of like you know, the objections in your life or whatever it is, or the obstacles that you had to beat, and then move on to be, you know, the hero of your own story. Do you know what I mean? How you
Yeah,
do
you know,
that?
the hero's journey, I think that the part where you're facing obstacles is a clue about who you're here to serve. Because a lot of the time, your ideal clients, your ideal audience are the people that are past versions of you. So I dealt with a lot of like PTSD, I had addiction, and I also dealt with like religious trauma. Like I had a really tough upbringing. And when I was like really, really raw and authentically sharing about how bad it was and what I did to overcome it, that's when so many people were like, oh man, me too. Thank God someone's saying it, because there's things that we have that we carry as almost shame in a way, and there's no reason to feel ashamed of it, especially when you've learned from it or overcome it. When you share that, you really attract and magnetize to you the right people, your right audience, your right clients, your right everything, your right opportunities even. So I think don't even be like too shy to share about, like, not, don't just share your highlight reel of all the good things you've done. Share the real tough times too. Share what you've been through. And that is that kind of raw authenticity. And then those are the people that you're here to help. And that might even be a clue of what you're here to do, right? Like if you've really, like, say somebody's really like overcome something big like sexual trauma or something like that, maybe they're here to then help other people through that and be some kind of like a safe space for that, you know, create some kind of a group membership, counseling, something around that. And that will bring you the most fulfillment. It always will, because it's the thing that hit you the hardest, right? So that's another
Mm.
big clue of who you're here to serve and what you're here to do.
You know, that's really strange. That's hit me home. I actually felt it tingling in my stomach there. You know, when you're talking then, especially about like PTSD. I was actually just on another call yesterday, and it was actually the guy, I was on his podcast. You know, I do a podcast with him every month, and we'll just I was talking about how to cope with being in the court, and how to handle yourself, and how to actually be able to qualify the jurisdiction, not allow them having jurisdiction, so you can stand as a man or a woman rather than being the person. All right. So I think maybe Brian might know a little bit of what I'm talking about there. But and from there, he was asking questions about, well, do you ever know of any people on the jurisdiction side, like on judges or barristers or lawyers that have been favorable or good, because they're not known for that, you know. And that there brought me into my own story, whereas like I did have actually assistance when I was going through an extremely hard time, and I was like, you know, because of the youth and things that happened to me in my youth, that I ended up going on the wrong side of the tracks, if you want to call it, and I was ending up in a lot of trouble, a lot of violence, and then being in court and facing prison and things like that. And but was kind of helped. And it would have been even worse if it hadn't been for at least a decent man, like doing his job properly by being in a barrister or a lawyer, you know, at that time. And but the behind all of the trouble that I got into was the PTSD that caused it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Always.
you know, it was quite deep. And actually even doing that with him, and I told him a little bit about the story of what happened, you know, and it's quite emotional. I was trying very hard. I don't want to, you know, like start getting emotional in front, which you probably should, but that's probably a bit of a
I've
man
cried so
thing.
many times on YouTube. I truly have cried so many times it's cringy, but that's what happens when you're being real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the shaman initiation is going through something to be able to heal it. Like that's what it's called. Like you're going through the shaman's initiation. Like if whatever you've gone through, you lead the way, and then you show other people how to get through it and how to get through the darkness, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, that is very, very true. And I think there's probably right on that side of it, like the personal side, the painful side of the real journey that you've went through and the real obstacles that you've overcome, be it addiction or whatever it would be, like sexual trauma that you had mentioned, or like on mine, it was like the death of my brother, right? Which when I was only 12, and it's just like, and it's just like such a shock. And when it was literally in one day, it was like, oh, I don't feel very well, oh, I'm dead, in one day, and it was like, oh, wow. It's
also a lot in my life. My best friend in high school died suddenly, same, and then my best friend in my 20s, we were inventors making technology, trying to reinvent things. He died suddenly, just so I feel your loss. My best friend in high school was the closest thing I had to a big brother. Lived down the street. I looked up to him. He was like proud of me. He's always like, "Oh, you're doing music? It's really good. You're gonna be famous." Like he just believed in me. Like I was like looked up to him a lot. So I feel your struggles. I've been through them as well, and it's not easy.
yeah.
And then
No.
other people don't know how to deal with it. I didn't. I was depressed for a good decade, 10 years at least, probably more, until I went to a medium and was able to actually communicate with them. And that's what got me into the spiritual world. I was like, wow, that's the ultimate best thing. I thought, there's no way you can communicate with the other side. Once they're dead, they're dead. And I lived in that state. Like he's still dead. Every day was a nightmare. Wake up, like they're still gone. But then that opened up a whole world to me. I'm like, wow, there's no way the medium could have made up the stuff that she was saying. I was like, I know it's true. And actually that path led me to Jenny. Eventually I got a reading with her with Starseed stuff, and it was incredible. I was like, wow, that really woke me up to a lot of my own self, my own soul. I was like, the stuff she was saying, I was like, it wasn't just hearing something, it was remembering it. So it's like that dark path that I went down, the similar one that you went down, led to this whole, new chapter in my life where I got into this, I discovered this world of spirituality, and then I've taken her courses and learned how to do it myself. So now I can help other people, overcome that hardship. So it's like part of that same path, the going through the darkness, living it, being able to relate, understanding, connecting on that deep level.
Yeah. I think the spiritual term is the dark night of the soul. Like when you're just rock bottom, you're at the dark night of the soul, and you could have more than one. I've had more than one of those. And it's like a cocoon. It's like when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and it has to melt, and you're in the goop. You are the goop. And then you have to reform yourself and come back out, as butterfly, as the transformed, evolved version of yourself, stronger, or you stay in the goop forever. And some people do, unfortunately. They can never get their way out of that. And I think that is really sad, obviously. And I think that the matrix programs play into keeping people out of their power, though,
Yeah, 100% for sure. I mean, the matrix is that's their trick, and that's their love of it, is keeping people in that state, and I think really talking about like but like what you're saying, the butterfly, coming out of the cocoon, I think, say on my side of it is to actually admit the pain, right? And that it's hard to cope with the pain, but then talk about it and then allow it to actually come out, and admit that you were in pain and that you were weak and felt that way, and obviously the things that happened through there, rather than saying, oh well, yeah, it was PTSD. I get the term, right? But obviously your mind is you completely unbalanced and you're not doing the right things, but then getting through to it and admitting what happened, and getting your mistakes and getting the pain and admitting the pain, I think is the biggest thing for me. That you weren't, trying to be strong and it didn't bother you. There's nothing wrong, and I can do anything I want.
And see that, and that's not okay for men to do,
right.
In society, right? Like men are expected to be these robots
Strong.
with no feelings. Yeah. And it's just, and I mean, women have other weird expectations, societal programming, but that is what keeps us apart too. Like, I also think that there's a part of this where they're trying to keep like the divine feminine and the divine masculine apart from each other in their roles, where they never truly can connect in like a real divine way, in like a real divine partnership. And I think that what you're saying, breaking through that programming and allowing as a man yourself to say, okay, I feel pain. I'm feeling these emotions. I'm not okay. That's so huge. And for women, it's usually it's a different thing. It's where we need to say, I need help. And women have a really hard time saying that, right? And that's what I had to do to get out of my dark night of the soul. Say, okay, I need help. I'm admitting that I need help, because that's like hard to do for women, because we're expected to be in charge of everything and on top of everything, and to say that. So I remember, those moments being the moments where everything changed, when I finally said to the people around me, I need someone to help me. I need help. I'm not okay. I need, someone to hold me accountable to getting better in whatever way that was. I'm sure you can understand, as well as a man, that you have different programming expected of you than what is expected of me.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I mean, see, like on my own side of it, apart from it, because I know, like Brian, you've actually gone into quite a bit of stuff that's similar to me. Like, the two things that I think that really helped me was, on my side, was like the martial arts, and through the martial arts, getting really heavily involved into it, and like trying to concentrate on that and using that, even on a competitive side, where you could go and compete against others rather than using it in a different way, like, and then trying to guide yourself along a path, or at least allow others to guide you along a path. I mean, you've actually done, I'm not saying that you had been where I had been, but like, you were definitely into the martial art. You still are though, aren't you?
No, not anymore. I've really shifted into the spiritual side, and I love the martial arts. I feel like it taught me a lot, not just like physical strength, because I mean, but it's more like the inner strength. When you're in a fight, you learn a lot of life lessons, like, like how to get up, how to take a punch and keep going, how to like deal with things, how to focus when everything's chaos around you. It's like that inner peace, because I used to fight very angry, like the new fighters, and they're hot-headed, and they're like, I'll just kill people, I see red, and they think they're tough, and then you find out there's a difference between being mad and knowing how to fight, because they're two different things. But you learn that, like, when you hold your breath and you take these big swings, people just see it coming. Like, okay, there it is. Like, you're not fighting better, you're fighting clumsy, and you're wearing yourself out. And it teaches you a lot about like emotional states. Like when you're all crazy, going off the hinges. I used to be a very fiery young man, I guess I would say. I was angry all the time, and I learned through fighting. Like, I realized I wasn't fighting to fight other people. I was always fighting myself. Like, my opponent, I was like, I'm fighting me. I'm fighting to hurt myself. Like, I'm in pain and I want other people to hurt. But it was really like, when I got hurt fighting, I didn't care, because I was like, okay, well, I kind of liked it. Like, I deserved to be in pain, because I felt like I was in pain all the time. So I don't know if you can relate to any of that, but it's like, you feel so much pain, maybe from the loss in younger years, and a lot of mine's from past lives too. I found out, like, I had things following me around that were with me, so I was acting out this rage, this pain. But through it, and through learning from teachers, martial arts training, different styles, fencing, medieval heavy weapons was my favorite, and then mixed martial arts. You learn like how to like center yourself. It's almost like grounding. Like, you're present. It's the ultimate presence. Like, you're the calm center of the storm. You let the fight rage around you. Time almost slows down when you get into the zone. Like, you see things coming, like, okay, there. You just, like, the ultimate focus and presence. It was almost a meditation. And, I loved it. And now I'm like, do I still need that in my life? I still love it. It feels like home to my soul, like being in the fight, the ultimate excitement, the adrenaline rush. But it's almost like I've come to the next level of inner peace. And now I can channel and focus. And I feel like the martial arts really helped, and then every area of my life, it's like you can apply it. There's principles that you've taken from it. So I don't know.
Oh, most definitely. And the thing is as well, we do like meditation weekly. We've got someone that we go and just like, he runs a meditation session, which, I still struggle with. But when you're talking about on the competitive side, I mean, I was ended up fighting professionally. So, I was doing like, 10, 12 round fights, and, like on television, and obviously it was quite a serious thing. And a lot of it, I thought, now that I've started to describe it, when people tell me, it's like, well, you have to be in meditation. It's very similar to like a self-hypnosis, because if you don't go into that in the correct state, being in that state there, be it a meditative state or a self-hypnosis state, how you are going to get hurt. You need to be able to be this is like a whole essence of surrounding you. You can't feel things that happen, bloody feel it afterwards, right? But like during the actual time of it, it's like, you know, it has to be something like a severe unconscious knockout to actually stop you, and then you go, well, what happened? You know, but that has got to be, do you think that that's like, either of you, do you think that that's like a meditation rather than just like, oh, getting into an angry state of fighting?
I had to learn how to do it, because instinctually you're tense in a fight. Like, you hold your breath, you close your eyes, like you see something coming in, like a new fighter is like, oh, what do I do? Like, and that's very much how you experience life. You're like, what's happening? I don't know what to do. It's like that freeze state, and you can't breathe. You're not in the flow. But when you train to do your breath, like, that's a meditative thing. When you fight, like, breathe out when you punch, breathe out when you block, like you force yourself, and you're like, you have to be able to move fluidly, like to block things fast. You actually can generate more power when you're relaxed instead of fighting yourself. So it's like, it's learning how to be in the flow, which is a very meditative, like, mindset, state of mind. It was actually an older woman fighter in the medieval fighting thing, Master Gwen. She taught me. She's like, you're like, you have this rage, like you want to be the storm. You come in, you're like, rah, rah, rah. I fight with like an on-off switch, and then I like crash, you know? She's like, you need to be the calm center of the storm, relax, and let the fight rage around you, like, be present. So, like, breathe. And then I started winning. Like, instead of, like, she's like, you're throwing a million shots. Like, I was fast, you know, fighting sword and shield, and I'd be throwing things. She's like, you're throwing things before there's even an opening. She's like, you need to be present, like, take a breath, be the calm center, and wait till the opening presents itself. And like, and then you see something coming, just deal with it. Like, she's like, just be relaxed. And that helped me so much in life. Like, it helped me win fights, helped me win tournaments, but it also just in life, like, okay, like, this is happening. Let's deal with it. Like, be present. And it's like, just to calm down. And then you're actually a way better fighter. You're better at dealing with obstacles, you know? So.
Yeah. But it's like trying to actually cope with the human side, which is like, you know, the fight or flight syndrome that everybody has, well, all animals, but, you know, we still have it. And it's like being able to control that drug that gets pumped into your bloodstream, which is the adrenaline. And a lot of it on all of the things that we deal a lot with, court cases now, or how to deal with, like, say, debt collectors or the police, you know, at that point in time. And it's just teaching everybody to, like, we call it like, be calm, breathe. So taking control of your breath work, and I'm trying to explain it. And in reality, I keep going back to it and thinking I'm talking like I'm telling them to meditate, because this is what I keep getting told to do. And it's the breath work and the breathing, which again was down to the martial arts. It was breath work, breathing, and being able to move and controlling the fight or flight syndrome. Because if you allow, in any walk of life, be it, you know, like dealing with the situations I'm talking about, whereas, you know, I'm teaching people to talk to police without getting angry. It's all about fight or flight and calm and adrenaline. If you allow the adrenaline to hit you, it will wipe you out, and you will not be able to think. You will not be able to see clearly. You won't be able to actually move, and you'll never be able to run away from them, because you'll have no strength anyway.
You'll react.
You know, and that is hypnosis.
Right.
But, well,
you
hypnosis and meditation, I mean, that has got to actually reflect into both of your, well, just say your enterprise, or, you know, your actual work, you know, the line of work that you're doing when you're dealing with people online, Jenny, when, you know, you're helping them do readings, or teaching them, you know, what you were saying about, like, coming onto your courses to learn how to channel, or various different things, and learning all the different clairs, surely.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about state of mind. And I think of it as like a frequency thing, right? Like, I'm always like, before I work with people, I create what I call a sacred space, and it creates protection spiritually and energetically. But what it also does is raise the frequency, raise the vibration. And a lot of people kind of misunderstand what that means. And I know it's like a very popular saying, just raise the vibe, raise your vibration. high vibe tribe and all of that, but it's a real thing. Like if you can get yourself above neutral, like if you think about an emotional scale, and you can look these up online. I believe it's Dr. Hawkins' emotional scale. They have been able to measure every single emotion and give it a number of hertz. So like neutral's 400 hertz. And then anything below that is going to put you into problems, like fight or flight, like giving away your power. And it's interesting, like the very lowest emotion on the scale that they could measure is not what most people think. It's shame. It's not anger. It's not, rage. It's shame. Shame is the very lowest that you can ever feel as a human. And then we've got all the icky ones, and then you've got neutral, and then you've got all the nice ones above, like contentment, peace, and then you can get up into excitement, joy, gratitude, bliss, all the way up. So it's really about, there's so many ways that you can work on raising your vibration. Like you guys were talking about breath work, and you were talking about, being the master of your own mind and your own thoughts. Absolutely. But you can also do things like diet, like you can also like think about like not eating the things that another program, not eating McDonald's, not eating the things that the chemicals that they put into the food, things that are intentionally to pull you down, protecting yourself from chemtrails, fluoride in the toothpaste. There are so many ways that they're intentionally trying to lower people's frequency and to block the pineal gland, because with a high frequency and an open pineal gland, you have so much clarity. You have so much divine wisdom. You're connected to your higher self. You have you've got your compass out. You're ready to guide yourself, right? And so, yeah, I agree with everything that you guys are saying. And I just think of it as frequency in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, think like one of the biggest ways that, and we're fighting it now all the time, where they're actually trying to block the pineal gland is with, putting the fluoride in the water, which they've just passed another bill where we live to actually put it in another larger area, which is why, we've got like this drinking water now, but this is actually, it's filtered, then it's like cleansed, then we put it in a vortex. It goes into a vortex, so it actually ionizes or calls structuring the water. And then once it's structured, then we actually put it in a hydrogenator and fill it with oxygen. So we do all that to it before we actually drink it. So, and this is why, because Janine was coughing before and I've been the same. So I've got extra water. This is just a cleaned bottle. This isn't what it says on there. This is all hydrogenated and clean, and that's just one thing that, plus it tastes.
I think that's the first thing that people could do is because water's what we're made of, is to take care of their water. Do not drink tap water at all. Do not drink plastic bottled water. Do not drink. Get your own filters, figure it out. I use one called Clearly. That's pretty good. I want to, get into the whole Kangen water and stuff like you. It's like quite an investment. So for now, we're doing Clearly, which is a filter that you can get for a couple $100, and it will take out fluoride, heavy metals, 99.9% of everything. And you can go on their website and put in your zip code or your postal code and see what your water is. Like they can tell you what's in your water. And the people of the townships won't tell you. And we were living in the last place that we lived, the most high arsenic in the water ever. And the thing about arsenic is if you boil it, it gets worse. You can't clear it out. And we didn't know that. And so then now we're doing shower filters, like on the shower heads, filters on the shower heads, filtered water. I mean, we don't live in that area anymore. So now we're on well water. It's quite a bit better, but still you should be filtering your showers and your drinking water at the very minimum. Start with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and again, like we say, a lot of people say, well, I'm fine because I'm actually drinking bottled water, and they're drinking these bottles of plastic bottles with the water in, which plastic. Yeah, it's just as bad, but then maybe in a different way. We've got like crystal shower, like a shower head, but it's all crystals and it's got crystals in it, so it like filters the water and cleanses it as it comes out. But that's what people don't realize is you're allowing all of that to go onto your skin, which is your body's biggest organ. They just think, oh, I've got internal organs, but you're surrounded by that, and they are, they are attacking it all the time. You just mentioned it before, like the sky is just full, and it's just like lines going everywhere. And I know a lot of people deny it and say, oh, don't be stupid now, but you can feel it. You know, you got, in fact,
See it.
sometimes you can actually see
I
it.
get
Go and have a
mad
look at your
because
car.
you can literally go out and see it. Like, you can, like, people are like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory or whatever. I'm like, have you ever gone and looked? Because you can see the difference between a contrail, which disappears in 30 seconds, and a chemtrail, which turns into a line, spreads out into a cloud cover. Like, you can literally go out. I was skeptical at first. I was like, that sounds crazy. So I went and I looked, and I was like, holy crap, you can see the difference on the same day. Two planes, one will have a chemtrail, one will have a contrail, which just evaporates. And I've seen Air Force generals talk about it. I'm like, pretty sure Air Force general knows more about the people who are calling me a conspiracy theorist. So, like, okay.
Yeah, well,
They refuse to
got
go
them
look.
admitting it, though. They admit it, but they come up with it. Oh, yeah, but we're only trying to do it to, like, help you with the weather, or we're trying to help with the sun. But they're actually admitting they're doing it. There's still people call you crazy for saying it's a chemtrail. But yeah, it is what it is. But the diet thing, again, for sure. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't eat, but, you know, you're absolutely insane if you're going to be touching anything with McDonald's or written on anything like that. You know, I mean, we don't want to eat anything that comes in any kind of packaging. You know, it's and again, I don't want to call any group of people, but if someone was asking me yesterday and said, well, are you a vegetarian, are you a vegan? As well, I don't really put labels on what I do, but I don't want to eat anything that it doesn't, you know, if it's not fresh and I can eat it literally now without having to worry about cooking it, then it shouldn't be ate. You know, and I'm not like telling anyone what they want to do, or to do what you want. You can eat dog shit for all I care. I don't care. But, like, you know, you do what you do, but, you know, like, it should always be fresh. And then these people say, oh, well, I'm a vegan or I'm a vegetarian, and all I eat is all of these, like, fake sausages and fake, like, I'm thinking, hang on. You know, when it says plant-based, they don't mean a cauliflower. You know, they mean it's in an industrial plant that makes this food inside of a chemical plant that comes out and is poisoning you even more than anything else, you know, and so on. You know. And then sugar, that's all I make. It's like, I'm a vegan because I eat nothing but it's all sugar based. You know, go to fruit and vegetables if that's where you want to be, but, like, eat it fresh, as fresh as you can.
Absolutely. And I noticed also, like, this is sort of along the lines of diet. I noticed a really big difference personally too when I cut out alcohol. And I know that a lot of people are really sensitive about that topic. And the more sensitive you are and the more triggered you are by the idea of giving it up, the more it has a hold on you, because I've been there. So if you're, like, fighting for it, there's a problem. You know, if you need to have a glass of wine every day to relax, that's not okay. Like, it's too much. And we don't realize that these things can take a hold of us quickly. And they become escapism, to escape from, you know, our reality or whatever we are not ready to face or feel or whatever. But also it's the frequency thing, right? So they also have measured things like alcohol, marijuana, all of that. Everything can be measured, not just emotions. Everything can be measured on the scale of frequency. And alcohol is so low. It is way below neutral. It's in, like, the high 200s or low 300s, I think, of hertz. And basically, like, you could be having a good day and you want to celebrate, have a glass of wine, or maybe you're having a hard day and you want to relax with or whatever, and you don't realize that it's pulling you down once again in your frequency. Anything that's going to pull you down below the neutral is going to make you susceptible to getting sick, being exhausted, anxiety, depression, psychic attack, like energetic attacks,
Hangovers,
all of that, right? So it's like, yeah, it's just like, for me, I really like to base everything that I do on frequency. It's just like an easy way to kind of see where I'm at.
Oh, that's so. Let's take it back again to like on the sovereign enterprise side then. So obviously everything that you're saying is like very, very similar lines to how we're living our sort of like existence. But so what do you actually offer then, right? Let's put it that way, to actually help others to get in line with you, or how to actually start their own actual business, or that journey, how to get started on the actual journey from where you were.
Yeah. So I have like kind of two pillars in my business. The first one is helping people to really discover what their specific soul gifts are and to master those and to train them up and to certify them in these beautiful gifts. I've got energy healing courses, channeling courses, all kinds of certifications that you can do. And then once they're feeling confident in that, the other pillar of my business is let's build your empire. Let's build your business together. And I do that on a one-on-one mentorship, or I do that in courses, groups, masterminds. So it just depends where you're at. If you're feeling like, okay, well, I don't really know what my gifts are. I don't really know who I'm here to serve yet. And I don't really like, I feel like I have a purpose for being here. I feel like I have this mission, but I don't know what it is. Then you want to come in and learn about your gifts, and let's get clear on that. And then once you feel confident, it's time to build your sovereign enterprise, your soul empire. And people, if they're feeling resonant with that and they're ready to go with that, can always find me on YouTube and on Instagram as Starseed Academy.
Okay, and it's Starseed Academy on both YouTube and Facebook, did you say?
No, Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Okay. Starseed Academy on both of them. Okay, and that's like. That's what is that what Janine did? So like going in and learning how to actually do the clairs and the channeling, etc.
Janine came into the Starseed Academy membership, and that's a great place, to build, to enjoy the community aspect of it all. And then she came into my program, Psychic Light. And that was where you learn to master the language of the clairs. I teach people how to do written channeling, spoken channeling, trance channeling, light language, read Akashic records, and become an astral guide. So you can take groups of people on astral journeys as well. So it's quite a full course.
Yeah, I remember her talking quite a lot about, what she had done and everything like that. And obviously, like, quite a while ago now, but we actually had a reading with you as well, which still actually has an effect, on what I'm doing right, all the time now. And obviously through Janine's sort of like education and everything like that helps me and try to sort of like, it's because I am so busy doing what I do, but I try to like, go on her side as well and learn a bit and try to like move in with the meditation side as well and try to learn that. So that's really, helped me amazingly. So after like doing on that side, what is the actual course that you actually, once you've got up there and you're feeling more confident and you want to try and maybe build that, sovereign enterprise, for instance, then what is that course called that you actually offer and help people with?
So if you're a beginner and you're working to get to 5K months, then it's called Starseed Business Academy. It's an 8-week course. It's really, really powerful. Oh my God, the results that people are having in there of signing people into their own mentorship, signing people into their offers. And it really covers the basics, magnetic, raw, authentic content, how to create messaging and content. And how to manage your social media, and then how to build an offer that's actually based around what your specific gifts are, and not just any offer, an offer that is so unique and really stands out from the crowd and is just like people see that and they're like, whoa, what's that? It's got that special mysterious element to it. And then I teach people how to launch offers. It's really important to kind of like understand how we can work the 3D to serve us and launch in a way that you get access to people that are in all kinds of different circles, maybe coming into an awakening or already fully awakened, like just like how to launch in a way that feels like it hits everybody. And then the last thing is some advanced stuff that I teach in that course around passive income, right? Because a lot of people are needing to maybe step back from being online a lot of the time, or they've got really busy families or whatever. So passive income can be a really powerful thing for sure. And that's like a beauty gift from the internet, from, a worldwide community of the internet, is that passive income can serve the people. Like we can use the internet as a tool, even though we're unplugging from 9-to-5 programming, all of that. And passive income to me is just like magical.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that I try to get across to others as well. It's like the only way to be able to get, well, not the only way, but a big part of being able to escape the matrix is not allowing them to control what you have available to you, like, you know, financially. Okay. Because we delve a lot into the financial side, which is, you know, actually getting people, which this might sound crazy right now, but I say, well, you know, this money doesn't exist, you know, none of it's real. And all you're dealing with is like a fiat currency, which is literally backed by nothing. There's no value to it. And it can disappear in a split second. And if you're allowing them to control that, that is what they have on you. And they can get you to do anything they want because they will stop that stream. So if you have one stream of income, you have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to have multiple streams of income. And especially if you can create them to be passive. So you don't have to be working 24/7. You can have a passive income. So you do the work and then it earns, you know, when you're asleep. So, you know, it's definitely what we're trying to actually get others and teach others and say, right, maybe I might not be the best at showing you how to do it, but please listen to me and then find out and go and do something about creating that actual other income. Because we have to, it's the only way, or it's a big way of getting rid of that control, is to stop them being able to pulling your strings like that. Jump when I say jump, and, you know, or else I'm not going to allow you to buy food.
Because in Canada, around COVID, I don't want your YouTube channel to hear that and like and end the video. Around that time in Canada, because that's where I'm from, they froze people's bank accounts like across the board if you were supporting the protesters of the things that they were doing. Froze people's bank accounts, like, I mean, it's just like, and people also thought, oh, well, you know, becoming a business owner, like what I do, being an online entrepreneur, that's not safety. Meanwhile, they're losing their jobs during COVID. Like everyone's losing their jobs and they're seeing, oh, wait a minute, it was an illusion of safety to have this money in the bank, to have this job. It's all gone. And then here I was able to continue on and continue on. So that's sovereignty.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I knew a lot of people that had big martial arts gyms and thought it was like, oh, you know, I've got a lot of security, a lot of backing. Literally within 2 to 3 weeks, they had no business, and they were trying to then move it online. But they were trying to move it online physically, where bring the students to watch them online, which is great. And, you know, we did the same. You know, we were jumping about the living room, you know, like jumping about like the dining room table, trying to keep the kids doing their classes in the middle of their living room while their parents were walking past. So we all did what we had to do during that time. But, you know, and I was trying to get others to realize anything like that can be switched off on a split second. And if you want proof of it, watch. And I know hundreds of gyms that have never opened again ever since then, because it just went too low and it smashed them, and it smashed the morale. You know, so from that experience alone, everybody should now be looking at, how do we get other streams of income? So we haven't got the gym. Oh yeah, it might be great, fantastic, it's really successful. It can be switched off in a split second. So have multiple streams of income, so that you've got an income stream there. So if you switch that one off, you're not going to be like hysterically panicking because you've got other streams that, you know, then you can always be trying to get the next stream. You're never relying on one, and you're definitely not then relying on the government, which is what, well, we know they're not in charge of anything, but they can stop you earning your money. And that's, you know, the whole essence of having a sovereign enterprise, being able to do it for yourself. That's what it means by being, in my eyes anyway, being sovereign is to look after yourself, is you handle your own affairs. Doesn't mean that you can be richer than other people. It's got nothing to do with that. You know, it's you being able to look after yourself and handle your own affairs. Live in anarchy. And anarchy means, right, self-governance. That's all it means. Doesn't mean what the media try and tell you, that we're all going to murder each other. No, it means we don't need government because we can look after our own affairs.
To me, sovereignty is like, to me, sovereignty is like being the creator of your own reality. You know?
Exactly that. And then not having to rely on anyone else for that reality. You create the reality, which is what that ties into the spiritual side of it. Whereas you create your own, Do you want to live in the low vibration of watching the media, watching the television, listening to what they're saying, knowing, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, we're all going to die and all of that? Or just want to live your own vibration and say, well, I'm over here. I don't need to watch TV. I don't need to look at newspapers, and I will choose this path and I will choose that life. And that is how I'm going to live. That is, again, another way of looking at it, to be sovereign. Yes, sovereign enterprise. That's, what this is about today. But obviously we need to live our sovereign life as well, and just be as we want to be, and not literally the person. I don't want to be a person because I'm a man, right? I want to live in it in that way, and not under the doom and gloom of the cabal, as it were.
Absolutely. Sovereign. I have this really beautiful mentorship that I'm doing called Sovereign Creator Codex, where I'm helping people to really unplug from all the programming and whatever's holding them back, and step into their sovereignty and start their businesses. And to me, being a sovereign creator is creating my own timeline. I think a lot in like timelines. I think the collective timeline is the doom and gloom. And that even though we're always going to have a connection to humanity, we are human, we're always going to be tethered to that in a way. Every time I go to the grocery store, every time I go into the world, I'm going to see what that collective timeline looks like. But I can live, like you said, on my own higher timeline, where I'm not tuning into the news. I'm not, playing by their rules. I'm doing, and in order to do that, I've done a lot of things to have that higher time. I left Canada. Like, I've done all the things that, whatever I need to do to not be controlled and to be able to live in my own reality. And I think that is sovereign. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, and not being triggered is what you used that word before, but not being triggered and not being affected by other people's vibration, the way that they're leading the life. It's just quite funny. This, like, what happened to me very recently. I think, was it last week? I can't remember now. And I was like, went in to get some fuel, like what do you call it? Like at a gas station, you would call it, a petrol station. So, there was like one of the pumps right in the front it was said, oh, not working, it's out of order. So I had to stop halfway and go to the pump behind me. So I'm using the pump behind me, but there's a big gap. And then this car come and it seen me where I am and it wanted to pull in front. So he pulled in front, read it. So, okay. So he went all the way around again and he come and pulled up behind me. So once I'd filled up my car, like got the diesel, I thought, and I just said to him, I'm going to pull forward for you. So I'll pull into the empty spot. You can move up and you can be filling yours while I go and pay for mine. He said, oh, no problem. Thank you. So I got in the car to drive forward, and the people in the office got on a microphone and they were screaming and shouting like, he's running away. He's running away. And they were saying, jump in front of the car. I thought, who's going to jump in front of the car anyway? If I was going to steal it and you step in front of my car, do you think I'm going to care about you? So, I mean, in reality, it was like, what? It's not even $100. You think I'm going to like drive over away with with my number plate on there and my face on the camera, And I went in, I went, are you mad? Have you never seen anybody help anyone? Do you not help people? Are we not allowed to help people? And it was like, blah, 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 shouting at me. I went, okay, away you go. And literally on the same day, I came out of the petrol station. I was going to pick something up for Janine. So I pulled up to the shop in a very, very busy street. This is literally minutes after. And I seen this guy trying to pull his car out. And he was indicating and he was panicking. So I stopped and I said, come on, let him out. Right. And I thought, well, it's good for me because then I can pull into his spot and park up right outside where the shop was, where I needed to go. And as he pulled around, I didn't know, he did a full big turn to go the same way as me. And as he's doing it, blocked all my traffic as well. And this guy come and nipped in and stole the parking spot. Wow. I couldn't do anything except laugh. I just thought, this is what you see on films. This is so funny. Like, this is where I would jump out of the car and never stop fighting. It's like, I just had to laugh. And I thought, twice I'm trying to help people and you end up getting stung, or treated like an idiot because you're trying to help people. It's just so crazy. But that's not getting caught up in other people's bad vibration or low vibration, still lifting up yours to be in the sovereign world. And that took me a long time to be able to not
That's a big one.
As well.
To choose to laugh, you know, instead of road rage is a big deal.
I'm working on that one.
Yeah. It's funny when you look back at it. I just think, oh my, but there you go. So yeah, I'll let you go. Enjoy your spot. And it's just such a grumpy face pulling in, you know, with the car, like, you know, and there it is. There you go. But then eventually, I just had to go up the top of the street, turn around and come back. And there was still another space for me right next to it or behind his car. So I just pulled in. Hi, how you doing?
All good.
Got my stuff anyway.
Well,
but,
you were in a better mood than him that day. Like, it's great when you realize you have the choice. Like, I was at work. I'm still in the 9 to 5. I'm still in the matrix, but I feel like I'm helping people while I'm there because I'm surrounded by people who are in it, so I can give them some perspectives. So for now, I don't think I'll be there forever. I'm actually enjoying it, like, because I know there's other options. It's like I'm there for fun, which is why I think some people incarnate here on Earth. Not me, but, you know, the older souls are like, I'll just go down and have a good time. Like, when you realize you have the choice, it's so freeing. Like, somebody at work, I was tired, and he's like, how you doing today? Crappy again? And then that was like turned a big light bulb on for me. I'm like, again, I'm always in a bad mood. I realized I had a choice. I was like, do I want to be crappy again? Like, no, I'm in a good mood. Like, I just chose, like, in that realization, it was like just a light bulb turning on. And a lot of people in the 9 to 5 get stuck in that. They wake up, they're miserable, they go to work, they feel like crap. It's like, you have the power to choose something different. Like, just becoming aware of it sometimes is that thing. Like you said, you were in these situations, like, it would be easy for you to say, what the hell, you know, and then get up mad, but you had the choice and you chose the easier path, even though you have to choose it. Because if you just react instead of respond to situations, a lot of times you're being controlled by the lower frequencies, and there is a choice. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, the thing is as well, you know, just on a similar kind of thing is, like, I do quite a lot of work on YouTube, and I'll actually show people how to do a lot of different things to save themselves privacy or to stop actually being tied in with, like, debt collectors and getting bad situations. And I just put it out there for free, you know. So, you know, but if you want extra help with it, then come and see me and we can talk about it. But look, this is how to just do it all yourself. So I'll show you how to do it. And you know, there's a lot of other people literally charge like a lot of money to do that. But you know, I think, well, okay, but it's actually all in the public domain, by the way. You can go on to the government websites, and fair enough, it takes a long time to research it, which I've done, right? But I say, well, look, I'll show you the base level, and just this is what you can do. I mean, if you get stuck or you need a problem, then you got to come and see me, and then we can go through it properly. I mean, I'm tied in with big legal groups. We've got high-end barristers, crime barristers, criminal barristers, like family barristers, which are the top of the game in the law society, as well as lawyers and solicitors. We've got a good team, you know, but that I can pass people on to. I can get them so much help, you know. Obviously, that's when they're getting into the, we'll have to pay for all that help, but I can get you the right people. You know, I'm in a big legal network if you need that help and legal advice. But the bottom level, I can just give you all for free. Just listen to it. But because I'm doing that, the amount of like attacks that you can get from what they say they would be, oh no, we're in the truth community, we're trying to help people, you know. So, well, why are you getting so angry then just because I'm doing it for free? You know, just like you'll still have your customers. Like, there's plenty of people knocking about. Like, they're not all yours, you know, but they will come to you, the ones you can get. And it's crazy how aggressive and violent, and not violent, but angry, you know, and like, you know, abusive messages and abusive like YouTube videos. You've got too much time on your hands, you know. You've got like absolutely no life, and that there is the low vibration as well. Whereas everybody should choose to move it higher, you know, and it would be a lot more fun as well. Do you not think?
Yeah.
You
know what I mean? You all seem to be having fun though.
We try. Yeah,
you know, and it's just by lifting that vibration and following a much lighter path, I think would be the way to describe it. I don't just, you know, lighter as in you're not carrying so much. Yeah, it's light. We're going down the, you know, the love and light route, but I mean, it's lighter. You're not carrying too much baggage with you, and you know, negativity with you, because that's all really heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like you mentioned earlier, you still fighting. I said, no, I don't feel like I need it anymore. That was like an outlet for me because I just had all this negativity bottled up inside me. I had to vent it. Like if I didn't do it in that healthy environment, the controlled, competitive, sport version of it, I was afraid that I was going to end up hurting someone in real life. I walked around, I was miserable all the time. And I think a lot of people feel that way. But I'm happy to say I don't feel like I need that anymore. Like I've learned to let things go. Like you said, you're like just laughing off. You like realize people are having their experience and you get to choose the one you want to have. It's like now I'm aware that there's a choice, because before I was just reacting to everything instead of responding. And
no, it's definitely, it's a learning curve, but it's like fantastic when you get there, isn't it? I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means at all, but I'm way better than what I used to be.
Yeah.
So, and I think, people are a lot better off because I'm better off as well. So I don't get angry or anything at them. So it's better on all sides,
Like self-work, inner work is a gift that you can give to everyone else. It's like, because everyone else has to deal with you. So it's like, I'm going to give you a gift. I'm going to be a better version of myself. So I'm really trying to work at that, not being negative and putting that on other people, because people don't even realize how much you affect everyone around you. So
that's so true. That's so true. But I mean, the sovereign side again as well is like you being able to work on yourself before trying to work on anyone else, isn't it? You've got to do all of the internal work, and if you do it properly, it can get so deep, So I think definitely working on yourself. But thank you so much for coming on and having a chat like this. I will put the links in. I'll get the links and put them in the description as well, for all of the links for the Starseed Academy and everything, the psychic light, and the academy side as well, for the business based part, because I think that's what I'm trying to get other people to look at this thing and say, look, we can get away from the matrix in so many different ways. So I'll definitely do that. And you've provided loads of fantastic value to people there already anyway. And just again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing the story and sharing what's happened.
Thank you, Peter. We're happy to be here.
Thanks for having us. It's been a blast talking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I loved it. It was good fun. But anyway, everybody, so thank you very much again for coming along. Check in the description for the links. We'll put that in there. And you've got to start looking more along so you can get into your own journey, be your own hero on your own hero's journey, and start this sovereign trip or this sovereign enterprise. Thank you very much.